And starting. So we're just, because we have a ball, we're just gonna start with our ball underneath our hips and just get our hip joints, hip sockets warmed up. So you want the ball underneath your sacrum, which is that flat bony plate between your butt cheeks, but not underneath your low back. So there's like some empty space under your low back. And just settle in before you even start moving. Take a couple of breaths. Just kind of get organized, get settled in. And then when you're ready to move, you're gonna stand deeply into your feet. So you have a strong platform, and then tip your sit bones upwards. That will make your low back drop closer to the mat. That's our 12 o'clock tilt. And then tip your sit bones downwards, which will lift your low back a bit, and it will flex the fronts of your hips. So you might get more wrinkles in the front of your pants. And just take it back and forth. Sit bones elevating, sit bones tipping down. A couple more. And just notice that you probably have more range of motion to one side than the other. Level your hips when you're ready, and then you're gonna hike right hip towards right ribs, so that waist gets shorter, and then left hip towards left ribs. So your pelvis is staying level, like a record on a turntable, but you're just shortening one waist and the other, and you're doing it from your feet. So your legs are kind of pushing and pulling your hips into this lateral flexion. And then you can level yourself. You'll take your one hip towards the ceiling, other hip towards the floor. So your waistband is turning, and then level yourself and then go the other way. It's like you're trying to face your navel off to the side. And you lift your hip by pushing that same foot down. So we're still steering and navigating from our legs. Our midsection is getting moved, but it's not the initiator of the movement. Legs are initiating the movement so that we warm up our hip muscles, and our spine is just kind of passively getting mobilized in all the directions. Then you can level yourself, go around your pelvic clock, start in your 12 o'clock tilt, revolve to one side for 3 o'clock, down towards 6 o'clock, over to 9, and back up to 12, and go 3 or 4 in the same direction, and just notice where you tend to skip a number, or maybe you're not as smooth in that arcing. And each time you revolve, try to revolve a little more fully. And then when you get back to 12 o'clock and you feel pretty even, change direction. And since I didn't tell you which way to go, you probably took the easier direction first. So the second direction potentially could feel a little bit less coordinated, or not. And then when you feel pretty even to that direction, find what seems like level to you. Walk your feet closer to each other, so your feet are a little more centered, and then stand firmly down into your left foot as you float your right knee up without changing your pelvis, and then float it back down. Change sides, stand into your right foot to float your left knee up. You can let your shin bone just hang. And because we're not moving our pelvis, there's a limit to how deeply you can flex your hip, right? You're gonna bump into yourself at some point. So just feel where that limit is. And then on the next couple of rounds, you're gonna let your pelvis follow through. So you'll go to that hip flexion limit, then start to curl your pelvis towards 12 o'clock. So your knee can continue coming towards your trunk, and then send it away. Stand into that foot, float the other, flex as much as you can, then let your pelvis follow through, and then lower it down. So now you're incorporating some lumbar movement. Any direction that you move your leg, if you move it far enough, your pelvis and your spine have to follow. So we're just feeling the rhythm and the timing of how those joints move. The next time you pick up your right leg, you're going to extend it to vertical, which might mean you're slightly forward of vertical in order to get your knee fully straight. Flex your ankle, and you're going to keyhole your leg It's a little bit trickier because we're on the ball. So stand firmly into the bottom foot so that you don't wobble on your ball as your leg twists internally and externally in your socket. And then you'll put that foot on the ground. Extend your other knee, make sure it's straight, and then keyhole your leg. Stand into that bottom foot to stabilize you. Right? The more stable we can be on the standing side, then the more freedom the moving side has to move. And then you're going to bend that knee. You can take your hips off the ball, lower yourself down to the mat, and then place the ball underneath your neck. Like as far under your neck as you can get it, so it's really tucked in there. It's okay if it feels kind of big. You're gonna tip your chin down towards your throat, as though you're trying to see your collarbones, but try to keep your head heavy on the ball, so you're not gonna pull it off the ball. And then lift your chin up and try to separate your jawbone from your collarbones. And then back to center. So you're doing a nod. When you tip your chin, you might feel those throat muscles. And then as you lift your chin, let those throat muscles stretch. Just back and forth. Making sure that your ribs don't help. Sometimes we're arching our ribs and moving our thoracic spine in order to move our head, but we actually don't need to. And then when you come back to center, you'll let your head turn to the right. Just let your ear move towards your shoulder. Take a breath there and breathe into wherever you feel the most tightness. As you exhale, let the floor hold your weight. And then come to center, change direction, go to the other side. And then back to center. And then you'll imagine you got a pencil from your nose up to the ceiling, a long pencil, and you're gonna do about the size of a sand dollar circles. So not very big, they're not your whole neck circling. It's really just your skull rotating on the top of your spine. And then change direction. It's the same kind of action we do when we do soup heads. We're doing like little cranial circles. And then when you feel pretty even to both directions, you can pick your head up with your hand. Just pull your head off the ball to remove the ball. And then rest everything down on the mat. Just check in again. Notice if anything's different from when you began. Then we'll do our rib cage arms. So we'll interlace our fingers over our laps. Slightly pull your arms apart. And then as you inhale, float your arms up. They don't necessarily have to go all the way to the floor behind you, but if they do, let your shoulder blades slide up your back. And then bring your arms back up and over towards your lap. Notice all the bones of your trunk that are touching the mat. Let them keep touching the mat the whole time. So the further back your arms go, the more you might have the tendency to lift your rib cage off the floor, but you're going to find a different way so that we're really freeing the arm bones from the trunk. One more, just straight back. You might even have to push your head a little bit into the mat. And then you can take your arms into a different pattern. So they could do circles, they could do figure eights, they could move in any sort of random pattern. But what you're trying to experience here is just the full weight of your arm bones in the joint and the heaviness of the rib cage on the mat. So nothing on the mat is disturbed by what you're doing with your arms. And then you can bring your arms down by your sides. You're gonna do a little halfway sit-up so that you can take your ball behind your shoulder blades. It's above your brow line, but below your neck. And then put your hands behind your head, so you're supporting your skull. And you'll just take a little arc over the ball. So your sternum kind of feels like it's bending backwards. And then you curl back up into your hundreds curl. So think of your rib cage as an accordion, right? So you're separating all your ribs in the front as you arc over the ball, and then you curl up. Those ribs are closing now, and the back ribs are opening. And take it back. And forward. And one more time. And the next time you curl your head up, just reach your hands behind your thighs, roll all the way up to sitting. Take your ball and put it between your knees, just for something to hold on to. Just take 3 of our little roll downs, so extend your arms forward, be nice and tall, and then begin rolling down by your 12 o'clock tilt. So the pelvis revolves around your leg bones. Squeeze into the ball when you feel like you're gonna lose your balance. Arms go back behind you without your ribs arching off the mat. And then you come back up. Lift your arms first, then your head. You can totally hold the backs of your legs as you rise. And then you come up to a straight spine. We'll just do 2 more like that. So we're articulating down from our hips all the way up the spine to our head. And then rising back up. Exhale when you hit that little sticky spot, so maybe it's less sticky the second time around. And one more time, making your way down. And arms reach back. You're gonna take the ball down the length of your mat and put your heels on it or your calves. So legs are together. Now it's wobbly, right? So you have to figure out what to do in your hips to keep the ball still. Raise your arms to the ceiling. Prepare for hundreds by inhaling. Exhale, lift your head, neck, and shoulders. Press down into the ball and go ahead and start your pumping. So you're gonna breathe in for 5 pumps. And out for 5 pumps, or maybe more if you have a longer breath. And you want to keep trying to feel the lift of your shoulder blades, but the sinking down of your lumbar spine. Backs of your legs are definitely working, so you're not resting on the ball, but you're pressing into the ball. 3 more full breaths. And then roll it back down. Take the ball between your feet, pick it up, and then put it between your inner thighs. Lengthen your legs down. We're gonna do our traditional roll up now, just 3 because we did our other sit up. So flex your ankles, tip back to 12 o'clock slightly so you're actually lifting the ball off the floor, and then begin rolling up. Exhale through the sticky spot, and then bend forward over the ball. Try to keep holding onto it with your legs. Roll it back down, sneak out from underneath yourself, all the way to the bottom, and reach. Again, arms lift, head, neck, and shoulders lift. Exhale as it gets a little sticky. And when you bend forward, really flex. So you're flexing your trunk into that bend rather than just hanging into a stretch. Roll back down to the bottom, and last one to go. Lift up and over. Reach out over the ball. Roll it back down. Arms go up and back. And you'll take your ball behind your right leg. Press into the ball with your legs so your elbows are straight, and then bend your knee enough that you can actually squish into the ball a little bit. So you're challenging your calf muscle and your hamstring muscles to bend your knee more. And you'll lift your leg up, bend, and squish the ball a little bit. Might feel like you're gonna get a hamstring cramp or a calf cramp. Just stay in motion so you don't stay in that cramp. The next time you extend your leg, keep it as straight as it can be, and then circle your foot around. And then circle the other direction. Point and flex through your whole foot all the joints and muscles. And then put your ball to your side so it's out of your way. Point your right toes, reach your leg forward more. So if you push your leg into your hands, it's gonna pick you up into your hundreds curl. That's about where you want your tree as you start to climb up. So you're gonna walk hand over hand up your tree. Sit as tall as you can first, and then hold your leg there and flex your trunk to your leg. So you're doing a little spine stretch. And then sit up tall again. Climb back down your tree from your hips, rolling back. Keep your leg long and straight. Find the floor and do it again. Lift up. Arms are helping, but they're not doing all the work. Sit as tall as you can and then flex forward. Sit as tall as you can again, and then roll back. And one more time, pick it up. To the top, you flex it forward. Sit up tall, climb it back down. Now see if you can get your ball underneath your left heel, like you had it for hundreds. That makes your standing leg a little bit more wobbly, so you have to do something more profound in your hip. Press your arms down and then go into your single leg circle. Hike your left hip a little bit to create the twist, then circle down and around. So you begin the twist from inside your trunk. Use your twisting muscles to get your leg over there. 2 more. And then when you reach the top, change direction. Stand into the ball as your leg opens out to the right, lowers down, and then hike your left hip a little bit. So that hip hiking recruits those side waist muscles to gather your leg back up. 2 more. And last one. And then bend your knee, give it whatever stretches you need. You could pull it straight in, you could open it, do all different things. You could take it across your body. And then come back to center, slide your right leg down, and then pick your left leg up, find your ball. You might have to lift it with your feet like a monkey. And then put your ball behind your thigh. Push into it so your elbows are straight. Squeeze into the ball with your leg, and then pick your foot up. Pull it down, squeeze into the ball. Because our joint health has as much to do with deeply flexing and compressing as it has to do with extending and decompressing. So decompressing is not better than compressing, right? We want our joint to be able to do both things. Leave your leg up and circle your foot around. Change direction, go the other way. Point and flex. And then you're going to release your ball, point your toes, push your leg into your hands till you're up in your hundreds curl. That's probably a good angle for your leg. Then begin to climb. Get all the way up, straighten your spine as best you can at the top, then flex forward. Straighten back up again. Exhale down. To the bottom. And up. To the top. Flex it in. Pick it up. Roll it down. One more time. Pick it up. Use your breath to help make you more pliable. Roll it down. Get your ball underneath your right heel or ankle. Shore up your right hip so you have a strong base. And then hike your right hip to start twisting. Then take your leg down and around. And up the other side. Both legs are long and straight. Yes, it takes a lot of stamina to hold your leg out straight for this long, but it's good for you to build that strength. 2 more. Last one. Change direction, open to the left. Take it down, hike your hip a little bit to come across. Breathing in, breathing out. Three more. Make sure you're not pushing your low back down to pick your leg up. Lift your leg with your leg strength. Finish your last one. Bend your knee. Take it into whatever angle of stretch feels best for you. And then come back to center. Roll yourself all the way up to sitting. We're gonna try rolling like a ball two ways. First way is you're gonna hold the ball behind your knees. That requires a deeper knee bend, which makes it a little harder to roll smoothly, right? So just try a few and then you can change it. But use those knee muscles to squeeze the ball. Inhale it back. Exhale, squeeze it to come up. Head and tail curling towards each other all the time. Last one. Then you're gonna put your ball between your chest and your thighs. So it still requires a deep knee bend, but you're just holding the ball in a different place. Try to hold your knees close to you as you roll back. 4 more times. Notice when you kind of lose the squeeze. See if you can keep it, especially on the way up. Last one. And then when you're up, you'll release the ball, put it behind your shoulder blades for stomach series. So your leg height is going to be probably higher than usual because you're lifted up on the ball. So just do your best. Pull one knee in, stretch the other leg forward. Now, as you switch legs, try not to wobble on the ball. You might have to move a little more slowly to think about it and to organize it. But we're trying not to bounce around. You're going to just stay really still. Both knees pull in. So this is where your legs might go higher than usual. Arms and legs are going to rise. Circle your arms, pull home. If you can take your legs lower, good for you. But you want to keep your low back heavy towards the mat. And when you lift your arms, you'd like to not weigh any more on the ball. Weigh either the same or less, but don't weigh more. One more. Into scissors. Now push your leg forward, like when you do tree, and see if that gets you up a little higher. Then you try and stay up a little higher as you switch and do a little pulse, switch, and pulse. So we're trying to use our leg to get up more rather than pulling our leg so far towards us it pushes us back. You want to go up. One more each way. And then legs come up. Put your feet on the floor, your heels on the floor, hands behind your hips. Slide your heels forward, but keep your low back heavy. Exhale, slide home. So we're taking off some of our leg weight so that we can differentiate the leg movement away from us from the spine movement backwards. 2 more slides. This is instead of our double leg lower lift. Last one. Then you're going to keep your feet on the floor. Put your hands behind your head. Rotate over to the right. Rotate over to the left. You have to lift your shoulder up on top of the other without falling off the ball. Go to the right. Go to the left. Now we're going to make a circle. So go to the right. Arc backwards over the ball. Come over to the left. Find your hundreds curl. My feet are wider than hip distance for balance. Go left. Arc backwards over the ball. Come right. Come to center. It's like corkscrew for your trunk or for your upper trunk. One more circle each way. Last one. And then roll yourself all the way up for spine stretch. So you'll sit with wide legs. If you need to sit up on top of something, go ahead and do that. Sit on a roller or a block or something. And then your ball is in front of you. You can put one hand on top of the other, just lightly, so you're connected to the ball. Inhale to sit up tall. Exhale, tip your head and just let your arms roll forward on the ball. Keep your head above your arms all the time. And then roll back up. And again, tip your head, ride the exhale. So keep exhaling. When you have nothing left to exhale, then you start to sit up. All the way to the top. Exhale over. Roll into it. Sit up tall. Last one. Sorry if I can't count. With me, there's usually one more, and then there's the last one. I recognize that. Then you're gonna put your ball between your insteps for open leg rocker, so it's only very slightly open leg rocker. Find your ankles, find your balance, extend your legs. Pull your shoulder blades together slightly. Now squeeze in with your big toe, inner big toe, and then roll away. Try to keep your hands where they are. Exhale up. Roll it back. Very good. Up. Head and tail curling towards each other. It's just kind of like a rolling spine stretch. Take 3 more. Back. And forth. That's it. Legs are as straight as you can make them. So your legs are pushing into your hands. Last one. Bend your knees, leave the ball, come onto your back for corkscrew. So there's lots of ways you can modify this, right? If it's too tricky with straight legs, you could bend your knees, so you have shorter levers, or make smaller circles, but we'll start with a couple of TikToks first. So try to put your big toes together. Hike your right hip to go right. You take it however far you can go and still be able to come back. Exhale home. Hike your hip to the left, so you're using your twisting muscles to help support your leg weight. One more each way of that. A wider arm stance can be helpful. So you have a little wider base. One more left. And then if you want to, you can corkscrew with straight or bent legs. Push your legs down. Feel that 12 o'clock tilt as your legs get low. So you don't want your low back to get arched off the mat when you push your legs down. One more each way. Last time to the left. And then bend your knees into your chest. Give them a little squeeze. Roll yourselves all the way up for saw. You're gonna take your ball, put it next to your right knee. And then sit up tall. You can sit on your lift again if you want. Open your arms wide, keep them in your periphery. So if you look straight ahead and you wiggle your fingers, you should be able to see them both. If your arms are too far back, you won't see them. You'll rotate over to the right. Put your right pinky side of your hand on the ball and push it along your inseam as you go into your twist. So you're going towards your toes. Roll it back up. Move your ball to the other knee. Rotate the other way. All the way out past your other foot. Bring it up. Take it the other way. And lift. One more each way. Lift your back arm by internally rotating it. So you're thinking of stacking one shoulder on top of the other. Pick it up, take it the other way. And rise. Come onto your tummy. Put your ball between your feet, your insteps, and come down. And then rest your forehead on your hands. We're gonna do a little baby butt first. So when you squeeze the ball, try to squeeze the whole instep. Do your sit bones towards your heels and then float your face. Look forward. Keep your sternum down, but lift your chin. Come back down, rest your face. Do that twice more. So you're arcing your neck. Pull your throat back a little bit so you're not sinking forward. And one more. So your voice should sound normal the whole time. If your chin falls forward, your voice gets kind of compressed. And then come back down. Bring your forehead to the mat, hands come underneath your shoulders. And you might not be able to hold the ball the whole time, but you're just gonna see if you can. Float your face, look forward. Start to lift your chest. If you can keep holding the ball, great. If not, it's not the end of the world. It's a lot to ask of those hips. And then come back down to the bottom. Take it again. Face floats up, you look forward. Open up through your chest. And then come back down to the bottom. If you can think about one more thing, try and hold your knees straight. It's hard to have straight knees and squeeze into the ball. Come back down. Turn your face. We're going to do double leg kick first because we have the ball. Put your hands behind your back and slide them up. Lower your elbows down. Breathe into where you feel the stickiest. And then on your exhale, bend both knees, holding the ball. 3 times. Inhale, straighten your arms and legs. Float your thighs if you can. Exhale, lower down, triple kick. So you have a lot to do on your inhale. Try not to take your breath in quickly and then hold it. But see if you can smoothly inhale the whole time you're lifting and stretching your limbs back. And then fully exhale so you can fully inhale again. Exhale down, we'll do one more each way. Triple kick. Inhale to lift. Exhale, triple kick. Last lift. Now let's see if you can bend your knees and get the ball with your hand. And then release your legs. Bring the ball underneath your sternum. Not a ton, but just enough that you can feel like if you sink down, your chest will squish the ball. If you press up into your forearms, you won't squish the ball. So it's just there for a little feedback. And now you can do your single leg kick. So you'll kick righty twice, straighten it. Kick lefty twice, and straighten it. I like to try to pick my thigh up because it keeps my pelvis more stable and my legs more active. You don't have to lift your thigh, but you might experiment with it. And the whole time you're just staying lifted up away from the ball, not sinking down into it. One more each leg. Last one. And then pull back over your heels into a child's pose. You can always do this into your back, pulling your knees into your chest. Breathing. And then when you're ready, you come up to sitting for neck pull. You can hold your ball between your feet. You might lift your ball a little so it's really between your big toes. So you have something to squeeze into. And then you make your way all the way down. And you'll go into neck pull. Float your skull, curl your neck, and peel your way up. Hands behind head, exhale, flex your trunk muscles. Don't crank on your neck. Inhale, lift up tall, squeeze in with those big toes. Exhale, arms can reach forward as needed. Pivot back behind your hips to the bottom. Go again, lift and curl. Exhale, deep flexion. Inhale, sit up tall. Exhale, pivot. So the pelvis is rotating around the leg bones. 2 more. Do whatever arm variations you need to help you bend the most smoothly. Inhale it up. Exhale, reach it back. And one more time. Pick it up. Exhale, bend. Inhale, lift it. Exhale back. Once you're back, bend your knees. We're gonna do shoulder bridge without the ball. We'll do our little twisting version of our bridge though. So heels are fairly close to sit bones. You're going to peel up straight, like you always do. Might draw your shoulder blades together a little bit at the top. Make sure your chin stays up. Now take your pelvis and turn it slightly to the right. So it's facing off on a diagonal. Now as you roll your spine down, you're going to be heavier on the right side of your back. You're still going straight down the middle. Like if you were on a balance beam, you'd stay on the beam. You'd just be heavier on the right side. Level your pelvis, peel back up through center. Turn your pelvis leftwards. Roll and lengthen down sequentially. And level yourself. If you level yourself and you find you're off center, then you know you're not quite twisting on your central axis, but you're kind of pulling off to the side. So try one more each way. Visualize your midline. You're rotating around the midline, but you're not veering off to the side. Level your pelvis. Roll up one more time. Rotate to the left. Make your way down. Find center, pick up your head, start to roll all the way up to sitting for spine twist. Put your ball between your feet again so you can hug your big toes in. So by really pulling your big toes in towards midline, you might feel some kind of work through the arches of your feet or some tightness through the arches of your feet. So that's okay. And then open your arms, wiggle your fingers to make sure you can see them. Inhale nice and tall. Exhale, twist to the right and a little more. Inhale up. Twist left and more and up. Twist from your trunk. Push your legs down so you can pick your spine up. One more each way. And then take a little forward bend over your legs. If you're somewhere where your heels can slide, we can go right into sand tunnels. You might have to shift off your sticky mat onto the carpet or something, but you're gonna drag your heels in towards your sit bones. If you can, get up over the tops of your feet. So your toes are kind of where your wrists are. If not, you can hold the sides, but try to get up over the tops. Inhale to get tall and make space. Exhale, keep your trunk on your thighs as you slide forward. Thighs don't move any faster than your trunk. When you cannot go any more forward, stay there to inhale. Exhale, use the backs of your knees to flex and pull back home, just like when you were squeezing the ball behind your knees. Inhale, stay. Exhale, slide. Be there as you inhale. Exhale, bend. Just let your neck and head release. 2 more only. Inhale to make space. Exhale to release. Inhale to stay. Exhale, release. Last time. Exhale, slide like you're pushing sand out into a pile on the beach. Making tunnels with your heels. And then slide it back in. Get your ball, you'll put it under your pelvis for jackknife. And for our spine lift prep. So you're sitting on your ball like you did for pelvic clocks. Your arms can be wider. And then legs are up. So there's a gap under your low back, right? Because your pelvis is elevated. So just feel that if you tip your pelvis back to 12 o'clock, that gap gets smaller. And then untip. Just do that little 12 o'clock tilt without your legs moving. Can you move your leg or pelvis relative to your legs? And then release. So you're doing 12 o'clock tilt and then release. Cross your legs the other way. Try to increase your range now. 12 o'clock tilt to unsquish the ball a little bit and then release. 12 o'clock tilt to unsquish the ball. Legs are not moving towards your face. They're staying there. This is how you would love to start your jackknife, even from the ground. One more time. 12 o'clock tilt Now uncross your legs, put your big toes together, do your 12 o'clock tilt, unweight the ball, and take yourself into your jackknife. Choose what level of legs is going to work for you. You could take them low, you could take them high, anywhere in between. Lower back down, stand back through the crown of your head, find the ball, gently touch down. Go 2 more times again. Tip your pelvis, float your pelvis, find your jackknife with your chin up. So you're not going to stand on the back of your throat. Lower back down, gently land. 1 more time. Trying to get to where we can use our strength and our flexibility to roll over and not require any sort of momentum. Just our strength. Come off the ball. Come on to your right side. Let's see. Put the ball underneath your ribs and come up onto your elbow. Straighten your knees. Pick your top leg up. Small circles. Because your trunk is higher than usual, it might make your hip work differently. And then change direction. Push the floor away so you're not sinking into the ball or your shoulder. So the ball's just there for feedback again. Tap your heel to the front. Lift it up, tap your toe to the back. Spinning your leg in your socket one way and the other way, just like when you did your keyhole rotations. Last one to the left, legs together. Pick your top leg up. Now here's where it gets tricky with the ball. Kick it forward, but don't lean on the ball. Pull it back and don't lift off the ball. Try to stay just as you are. Really tidy with the movement in your hip joint. Quiet through your trunk. Last one. And then legs together. Turn out, kick up, don't lean on the ball, pull back down. For me, it makes me feel like I can't go quite as far and my leg weighs more because I'm not like leveraging it up, but I'm actually having to pick it up. 2 more. And then bend your knees. You're going to put the ball a little closer towards your armpit so that you can come down. So knees are bent. You're in a mini side bend because you've come over the ball. Top arm can lengthen forward. And then you're going to do small circles. Not so big that you fall off the ball. But you're going to let your rib cage move and roll and be pressed into by the ball. 1 more circle that way. And then reverse it. So sometimes it's hard to feel like our rib cage can move much, but all our thoracic bones are attached to the rib cage and there's a whole bunch of movable joints on the back of our spine, the sides of our spine. So this can help mobilize some of that stuff, especially if you've been feeling stiff lately. And then you'll come to the other side. The ball goes underneath your ribs, up on your forearm. So you feel the ball, but you're not leaning on the ball. You're just aware of the ball. Top leg lifts and small circles. You might aim your heel slightly higher than your toes to really get into that outer hip. Change direction. And then tap your heel to the front, toe to the back. Internally and externally rotating without rolling forward and back on the ball. Last time to the back. Legs together, lift and flex your top foot. Take it to the front and pull it to the back. Push the floor away. So you're doing active cat in that standing shoulder. Tricky not to roll forward and back on the ball, so just be aware of what your tendencies are. Legs together, point your toes, kick up high, don't squish the ball, and then come back down. Lift up and down. We know it takes a lot of leg work to hold our leg out in space, but that's okay. 2 more. And last one. Roll onto your hips, so your chest up. Get your ball like right under your brow line, so that if you're on your forearms behind you and you were to sink your chest, you'd be resting on the ball. And if you were to squeeze your shoulder blades together and lift your heart, you'd be lifting off the ball. So try that again. Lower, sink yourself into the ball, push your forearms down to lift off the ball. It's kind of like doing active cat and lazy cat, but facing up instead of facing down. Sink and lift. Now stay lifted. Pull your knees in for can-can. At no point are you going to sink into the ball. You're going to twist to the right by hiking your hip, twist to the left, twist to the right. Keep your chest up as you straighten and bend your legs. Take it to the left, then the right, then the left. Straighten and bend. Inhale right, keep inhaling left, keep inhaling right. Big exhale, straighten and bend. So challenge that long inhale. Straighten and bend. Now you can do one more round of that, or you can try the actual hip circle, which is a corkscrew. So you're going to take your legs to the right, push them down, around, and up, not resting on your ball. Go left, around, up to the right, and rest. Come on to your tummy. Put your ball underneath your sternum. Take your arms out in front of you. So there again, you could sink into the ball, but you're not going to. You're going to stay up. We're going to swim, but keep our hands down. Pick up your legs. Kick, kick, kick. 3 full breaths. Try to keep your knees straight and try to be still on the ball. Hard not to bounce, but try. And then lower down. Move the ball. Just rest your forehead on your hands and take 3 full breaths here. Let all your weight drop into the mat. After your 3rd breath, you're going to press yourself up onto all 4s. Knees under hips, hands under shoulders, head is a little bit up. Now you're going to take your hands and you're going to take 1 big step forward. So your hands are out in front of you. This is camel drinking water. You're going to keep your chest up, keep your sit bones up, lower your elbows to the ground. Remember how camels bend their knees backwards? And then press back up. 2 things. Try and keep your active cat shoulders nice and broad the whole way so your blades never slip together. And also try and keep your index knuckle and your thumb pressing down. We tend to roll out towards our pinky side of our hands because our shoulders are tight. See if you can keep your hand really grounded. One more time. You might feel this a lot in your triceps. Then you're going to tuck your toes under and walk your knees towards your hands. Push yourself off your knees back towards your feet. Find a little squat. Doesn't matter if your heels are down. Squat as best you can. And you're going to transition into seal. So you may have to take your hands behind you so you don't go kerplunk. But you're going to get your hips to the mat. You might have to move forward. Bring your hands through and underneath your ankles. Find your balance. Clap your legs if you want to. Inhale back. If you can suspend, you clap. If not, you don't worry about it. But remember, you're standing on your shoulders, not your neck. And you're clapping from inside your hip joints. 3 more. Nice full breath. Notice how your rolling might be smoother now compared to when you began. Last one. Rise up and be done.